Pause for a second. You didn't find this by accident. There is a subtle signal you've been brushing past, a tiny inner knock that comes from the pineal gland. Science whispers in metaphors now: fields, frequency, resonance. Mystics call it the third eye. Both say the same thing in different languages. Something in you is tuning, aligning, preparing for an activation. Breathe in, pause, feel the weight of your body. Hear the soft rhythm behind your eyes. That still point is watching. That still point is listening. Not everyone senses it. Few do. That's the secret. This moment chooses the few who are ready to shift. A single sign arrives, not loud, not dramatic, but clear to anyone who slows down enough to notice. It's a change in frequency, a tiny pulse in awareness, a quiet nudge toward higher consciousness. You may feel strange dreams. You may taste a new sweetness in silence. Colors could deepen. Intuition sharpens. Your field feels tighter, more present. These are not coincidences. They are the divine signal of an inner calibration. The pineal gland is waking. Your third eye leans forward. Your consciousness expands, inch by inch. Listen now with more than your ears. Let this sink into your bones. Let this become your center. There is an invitation here to answer the signal, to meet the shift, to walk toward the activation waiting inside you. Take a breath. Stay here. This isn't just content. It's your activation point. The one quiet sign, a pulse behind the eyes. A sudden flash of light pierces your inner vision. Then a slow, liquid pulse settles behind your eyes, as if something small and steady is tapping the doorway of your awareness. You feel it not with thought, but with the soft language of sensation. A pressure that breathes, a rhythm that asks you to listen. This is the sign the pineal gland sends just before a deeper shift. It arrives like a metronome for your soul, subtle enough to be mistaken for tiredness, allergies, or stress, yet precise in timing. It often comes at moments when your life is loosening its seams, after loss, in a quiet hour before a decision, or in the hush after a dream that won't leave you. That gentle pulsing is a signal that the field around you is retuning, and your inner eye is being invited to open, like a flower, to morning light. Science names this gland. Mystics call it the third eye. Both point to the same truth, a center inside you that translates frequency into vision. You might notice your nights becoming more vivid, your dreams threaded with symbols, or a taste of nostalgia that feels like a future memory. Those are the chorus around the pulse, the context that tells you something is realigning. Yet the pulse itself is the clearest telegram. Simple, rhythmic, intimate. Here's a twist that quiets many fears. The pulse is not always a triumphant alarm. Sometimes it arrives to clear. It shows up to winnow what you carry. Old pain, beliefs that no longer fit, attachments that dim your light. It can feel uncomfortable because it is honest. It asks you to feel, to let go, to enter a tender kind of truth. The awakening it heralds is not a prize, but a purification. In that sense, the pulse is merciful. It refuses to let you remain asleep while your soul nudges you onward. You do not need special equipment to meet this sign. In the moment, soften your gaze, place your awareness at the center of the forehead, and breathe as if you could exhale the old stories held there. Notice images, smells, or a sound that seems to come from nowhere. Journal one line about the sensation. What color did the pulse carry? What metaphor rose up? These small acts weave your listening into practice. Most important, receive it as an invitation, not a verdict. The pulse is a doorway, not a destination. Will you step through with the courage to feel what is asked? Or will you turn away and call it coincidence? How will you answer when that quiet rhythm returns? The pineal's single sign, the quiet pressure before awakening. A sudden flash of light pierces your inner vision, not from without, but from a place between your eyes. You felt it, that gentle, insistent pressure or humming in the center of your forehead. A small gravitational pull that asks you to pause. It comes like a soft knock at the threshold of your awareness, subtle enough to be mistaken for stress, persistent enough to become impossible to ignore. For many seekers, this is the pineal's one sign, not a thunderbolt, but a whisper that your inner frequency is shifting. Listen to this. The sensation arrives when your attention tilts inward, when the noise thins and there is room for a different kind of knowing. It feels physical because awakening always speaks through the body first, through nerves, through breath, through the tiny muscles that close your eyes to the world and open them inward. Science may name rhythms and melatonin waves. Mystics call it the third eye stirring. Both are true in their own languages. Your subtle body is tuning. The field around you rearranges. This pressure is not a problem to be fixed. It is a doorway. Here's the twist. What you might label as pain, anxiety, or malfunction is often initiation in disguise. The first impulse is fear. You search the internet, you worry, but fear collapses the experience into danger. Curiosity expands it into initiation. When you meet the pressure with breath and attention instead of alarm, it unravels into clarity. The hum will soften, images may arrive, dreams intensify, or a knowing will settle like a warm stone at the center of your chest. Practical tenderness. When it appears, place your hand lightly above your brow. Slow your exhale and imagine the breath bathing that center. Journal what arises for 3 minutes. Rest your eyes in dim light. Record dreams, because the pineal often speaks at night through symbolism. Reduce harsh stimulation. Create a small ritual of returning home to your inner senses. These are not mechanical hacks, but respectful answers, ways of saying yes to the call. You are not broken by this sign. You are being invited beyond old limits. So next time the pressure arrives, will you meet it with the same rush of fear? Or will you meet it with a soft, listening breath and step through? The quiet pulse between worlds. A sudden flash of light pierces your inner vision, not outside you, but right behind the brow, like a lighthouse flipping once in a fogged harbor. You know the place I mean, that small, secret center where your body keeps a bell. For many seekers, the pineal doesn't shout, it taps. A hush becomes a pulse. You may feel it as a pressure, a soft ringing, a warmth, or the curious sensation of something awakening in the dark of your skull. That single, consistent sign is not dramatic, it is intimate. It arrives like a friend, leaning close to whisper, "It's time." This sign often comes when your life is already fissured, after grief, loss, or a long season of questions. The suffering you carried was not wasted. It was clearing a path. The pineal signal is a bridge built of discomfort and curiosity. You are the bridge's traveler. Notice how the feeling pulls you inward. You slow. Your breath becomes a map. Practical invitation. The next time you feel that pressure or vibration, sit with it for 3 minutes. Breathe into the area between the eyebrows. No forcing. Soft attention. Imagine the sensation as a small tide. It rises, then recedes. Let images or phrases appear without chasing them. When you stay with the sign, you learn its dialect. It will begin to speak your name. Here's the twist that hushes the mind. What we label as activation can masquerade as dis-ease. Doctors might call it tension. Friends might say it's anxiety. Yet what feels like breakdown at first is often the body rewiring itself to hold more light, more frequency. The same ache that once alarmed you becomes the threshold of expanded perception. The sign wants you to become fluent in this new language of subtlety. Integration matters. If the signal brings waves of intensity, anchor yourself. Walk barefoot if you can. Drink water with gratitude. Name 3 earthly things you see. Keep a small notebook by your bed. Dreams will begin to arrive with sharper edges. Write them down. Over time, the pressure will feel less like a foreign knock and more like a familiar rhythm, the pulse of your deeper knowing. You are not fragile for feeling it. You are sensitive. You are the one who can listen. So when that quiet pulse returns tonight, will you treat it as an interruption or as the single sign that has been waiting to meet you? You did not come here by accident. You sat with this message, read these words, and something in you answered quietly, like a bell struck beneath the ocean. That alone is a sign. Celebrate that. Take in the fact that you finished this journey with me, that you stayed with a message meant to nudge the sleeping center of awareness inside your skull. The pineal, the third eye, toward a gentle shift. You are chosen by circumstance and by curiosity. You are the one who noticed. If you felt a resonance, a little tightening behind the eyes, a sudden clarity, or even a strange dream after watching, honor it. These small phenomena are not random. They are the first notes of a new song your consciousness is learning to sing. They are invitations from your inner lighthouse to come closer, to tune into a subtler field of frequency where meaning is lighter and deeper at once. This channel exists because people like you seek that frequency. You are not alone. You belong to a quiet tribe of seekers who refuse to forget that spirit is not separate from life. It is the current moving through it. Now, let's do something simple and human. If this reached you, drop a yes in the comments. Tell us one tiny detail, a picture, a phrase, a feeling that felt like a signal. Share what you want to uncover next. Your words matter. They become beacons for others awakening in silence. Read other comments. Respond. When you speak your inner truth, you help translate the field for someone else who is still listening for a sound they can't name. If you would like, write one line in the present tense. I am opening to my inner sight. Place it somewhere you'll see it tomorrow, on a mirror, a mug, or the lock screen of your phone. Small rituals like this stitch the seen to the unseen. They raise the tone of your days and invite a different frequency into routine moments. Remember, awakening is not a dramatic overhaul in an instant. It is a patient rearrangement of attention and care. We are in a long conversation with the universe, and every sign the pineal sends is a sentence in that conversation. Be gentle with yourself as you learn its language. Keep returning to the tenderness of this moment. You listened, you felt, you chose to move forward. Keep shining your light. Remain present. Breathe and absorb this energy in gratitude. What whispers did you hear that you might follow next?